Welcome to the webinar, How MSPs Can Scale with Confidence. Today, we tackle the pressing challenges MSPs face in a rapidly evolving industry: vendor lock-in, rising costs, and the need for agility. Throughout this session, we'll show you how wibipOS offers MSPs the tools to overcome these hurdles, unlocking unprecedented flexibility and growth opportunities. Stick around until the end, where we'll introduce our exclusive early adopter program for Ruckus MSPs, a unique chance to shape the future of managed Wi-Fi alongside a proven, battle-tested platform.
Hi, welcome to our webinar, How Can MSPs Scale with Confidence? Your moderator, Brad Randall with Broadband Communities. I'm the editor of bbcmag.com, and we are the digital brand of the Broadband Community Summit. And here at the pleasure of Adelaine Fella, he's the Chief Analyst with Meravitas, and Magnus Johansson, who's the CEO of WiBUZ. So thanks for joining us, and I'll hand it over to Adelaine here as we get started.
So without further ado, let's dive into the survey. We have had 65 responses. The survey took place in the summer and end of the summer of this year. At the end of the day, whether you call them CSP, BSP, ISP, they're all providing internet services. What makes the difference is the managed part of it. Different parts of the organizations responded to the survey. We have had quite a good response from C-level. In terms of what markets they serve, as you can see, predominantly those are multifamily, multi-dwelling units. It's followed by SMBs and hospitality. In terms of the size of the networks, about 50% of those MSPs have deployed between 5 and 25,000 units. We suspect that a lot of the MSPs actually have more. So, what are the results of the survey? We started by looking kind of the challenges they're facing today. So, the first data point is that the majority use their vendor management systems today, but they're not happy with them. In fact, 54% are unsatisfied. Why were they unsatisfied? The majority felt that 65% felt that they were too expensive and complex to maintain. Also, another key finding is that difficulty in achieving a unified management interface was the most significant inhibitor to effectively managing multiple equipment vendors for 31%. So basically, achieving a single pane of glass. And interestingly, 37% cited the lack of what they call committed skilled personnel as a big barrier to growth. The summary of the current challenges is that vendor lock-in, complexity, and lack of skilled personnel were really limiting growth potential. The next step I wanted to understand is kind of the current state. What are they doing about solving this problem? And we're surprised to see that 63% invest up to $500,000 annually in internal and external management software customizations and integrations. To do so, 53% have at least 6 developers in-house, and 24% have between 6 and 20 developers. They use a mix of internal and external resources for their research and development. And the reason they do that is they want to access external specialized skills as a number one reason. Other reasons include reduce the internal workload inside the organization and accelerate development timelines. Obviously, outsourcing doesn't come without concerns. 25% cited cost overruns and lack of control as the number one concerns for the development process. The bottom line of this is that despite the heavy investments, remember, between 200 and 500,000 annually, major issues not resolved. In fact, some of the MSPs we spoke to invest north of $1 million a year in R&D. So what is the ideal state for these MSPs? So again, a single pane of glass followed here by better integration with business systems. So it's not only integrating connectivity from, say, AP vendor A with AP vendor B, but it's also making sure that the platform integrates with property management systems and payment systems and other business supporting systems. 25% want greater control over features and integrations. What does that mean? Is that, again, I mentioned earlier that they have their own roadmap in terms of R&D requirements, which may or not align with the AP or infrastructure vendors' own roadmap. So that creates a friction for them. The need for a single pane of glass. So single pane of glass for multiple infrastructure vendors, single pane of glass for business processes and systems. All of this is to enable them to scale with confidence. So bottom line here is that MSPs have a lot of challenges, a lot of requirements, but they have a clear view of their ideal state they want to be in.
All right, well, we'll hand it over to Magnus here. He's been waiting patiently.
So hello, everyone. I'm Magnus Johansson. It's fantastic to see that so many have joined. And in 2015, I founded WiBUZ to change all the problems that MSPs have. And for 9 years, we've been working behind the scenes with industry leaders, and we have developed a solution that is truly vendor neutral, seamless, and built to grow with you. We call it wibipOS. Let's step back and look a little bit closer at what MSP CEOs are facing today. From my years in the industry, I've seen how MSP leaders like you have been dealing with a whole new level of complexity and constraint. There is a rapid evolution of technology that has brought great opportunities, but it has also created a lot of significant challenges. We have the big dreaded, what we call vendor lock-in. You have nice golden handcuffs with the ecosystem vendors today. And to try to get them all to play nice together, you have to use a lot of money to make the integration work. Equipment vendors, or if it is to integrate with third-party software solution for hotel and management, etc. And then, of course, it is this dreaded multiple dashboard and disconnected system. And finally, as we discussed in the questions, the talent shortage that is constantly hunting you and making it hard to run a profitable business. So one of the CEOs that Adelaine interviewed said, it feels like being cornered. You want the best for your clients, but vendor limitations make it almost impossible. These aren't just annoyances. They are barriers to achieving real growth. So let's talk about the solutions that MSPs like you have today. You know, each of them have their drawbacks. We talked about vendor solutions. It works well, but over time, you are locked in. There's not much flexibility to scale or diversify. Or they say, please use our APIs and build it yourself. Yes, you are more in control, but then it is money and time and skilled personnel to try to keep up with. And then, of course, you could outsource. That is quick, but it's costly long-term. And over time, you will again be locked in. So here is a way of visually show it. On the x-axis, that represents the market reach and the potential. So looking at, I use verticals as an example. And on the y-axis, that represents the vendor diversity that you need to have to reach all of it. And then you have the vertical axis that actually show the complexity and cost. You want to be under this line because when you get over it, you will run into the problem of too costly, too complex. And the ideal state is, of course, to stay under the line. And the question is how to get there. So let us imagine a world where you have complete vendor freedom and the flexibility to pick the best solution for your business without lock-in. Think about a modular and scalable platform that evolves with your needs. You need a new feature, add it. You need a new part, replace it, swap it seamlessly. Then, of course, we needed this unified dashboard to manage everything in one place, not more juggling systems or scattering information. And finally, it is to have R&D on demand. Let me introduce wibipOS. Think of it a little like a Minecraft universe. So we offer vendor neutral freedom. You can connect with any major vendor of equipment, and we perform very deep API integration and managing and normalizing those vendor APIs, and unifies that into a unified dashboard. And it's all API first, meaning it's modular, scalable, and once you integrate, it's deployed everywhere. And as long as there is APIs on the other end, we expose the APIs of wibipOS to third parties. And finally, we offer what we call a live SDK. It's our developer team, and you get that extension of experts. They are embedded in your team, in-source with you and work with you to help you develop on this platform. Some of the key features, it's your brand. It comes with built-in options for hospitality, education, multifamily, and more. It's plug and play, not starting from scratch. It comes with pre-built building blocks and use cases and automations that you can plug into. And then it has the ability to customize and add other things. And as you integrate, it's one time mapped across all the services and solutions. And then it is that everything that we build with you, it's built to be automated so that you can have do deployments and other things on a consistent basis. So imagine that you can maximize your reach across all the verticals that you want to reach. And I have an example here to say, you might be focusing on MDU. You might have a really good solution. Everything is ready for your upscale condos. And now you want to expand down market into student housing, affordable housing. And with that, you need to add equipment vendors that are more appropriate for that. With wibipOS, that limitation disappears. You can now serve every marketeer in the vertical by simply adapting the hardware and adjusting the services. The core integration, automation, and deployment processes stays intact across the universe. And of course, you have the single pane of glass branded, where you have the ability to control everything. Why is this a perfect fit for MSPs at the CEOs? It is that it unlocks your market. You can scale smoothly, innovate without disrupting your core operations. It is multi-tenant, meaning that us as custodians of the platform have our admin to onboard new operators and MSPs. You as the MSP have your admin where you manage all of your automation, integration, and to roll out your, if you call it properties or customers. And the end user, if it is a residential user, have their interface of managing, changing plans, onboarding devices, etc. And then, of course, you have the classic captive portal solutions at the end. On top of that, the live SDK that provides on-demand R&D support to help MSPs innovate and without the massive in-house overhead. Let me talk about the real-world success. This is a success story fresh off the presses. You know, we went out of stealth mode in January, and we closed the deal with an MSP down in Jamaica for the Ministry of Education, where it is that they have a two-phase approach. They are going to roll out 1,000 schools in total. In the first phase, it was a ruckus deployment to 346 schools. And it was deployed in just 90 days because it was relying on the what we're calling the pre-built modules. So to roll out, it could be very quickly, both to onboard and to roll out. And And the second phase will be another 700 schools, and it will use Action Tech and Net Experience from the Tip Open Wi-Fi universe. And all of it is being managed from within wibipOS as a branded for the government of Jamaica. And as a add-on to this is that during the rollout of this 90 days, the government of Jamaica had some specific dashboard enhancements that they wanted to see. So again, with this ability with our live SDK, and we built those modules during the time of the rollout. Those modules are not customized to only work for Jamaica now. That adds to the inventory of building blocks. Everything that we develop becomes part of the overall universe and the overall platform. Jamaica was very happy with what we were doing, and I think they saw the power of being able to quickly roll out, to be able to use multiple vendors. We are also integrating their firewalls, and later there will be IoT cameras. So all of this is adding to their opportunity to not be locked in with just one vendor when it comes to technology.
But you need something that unites the two worlds, the established infrastructure base, which is mostly Ruckus and Cisco Meraki and Cambium and all these folks, with Tip Open Wi-Fi. And I think that's what I find very interesting in your deployment is you were finally able to unify these two worlds.
We know that every MSP has a unique path. And WiBUZ, we are creating a platform that adapts to this growth, and we grow with you. And it is a full competition ecosystem, meaning that you are all inside this universe, but you all have your own domain that you are building within. And the way you put together the building blocks, the new development that you do becomes unique to you, even though the blueprints, if you call it that, the integrations and the crafting, if you use the Minecraft of new blocks, becomes part of the DNA. That also means that there is this flywheel effect that will help not just you, but it will help others that come on board to be able to go faster. So it becomes this kind of a collaboration without inflicting the risk of feeling that I'm giving away my secret sauce. And this is working today with, like we have shown, with 10 of the largest telcos. They are on a platform, and they can work side by side without being exposed. And when you develop something, it's still, you get the first mover advantage. You innovate, and with us being behind the scenes, your internal teams can focus on the growth, focus on innovation, focus on service delivery, not focus on trying to keep the lights on and getting a single view. And with that, this is a little wordplay, deja vu all over again. And I think at least if you're as old as me, you remember this picture where all the handset makers had their own universe. They had their own hardware, their own software, their own apps. And with that, it became limiting. And then all of that changed with the Apple and Android. And today we have kind of the same thing happening with the Wi-Fi vendors. And we are saying that this needs a Android moment. And we want to take part in enabling that for you as MSPs.
Thank you for joining us today. As we've explored, wibipOS isn't just another platform. It's your gateway to achieving vendor-neutral freedom, scalable operations, and a collaborative ecosystem. Our early adopter program for Ruckus MSPs is designed to give you a head start in leveraging this groundbreaking platform. With access to a dynamic roadmap, deep vendor integrations and dedicated live SDK support, you can scale confidently and independently. Don't miss this opportunity to shape your future. Scan the QR code or click the link to schedule a one-on-one session with me. Let's build your universe together.